Sometimes you can put these on by hand, or sometimes you can get these little fancy piston clips that go around like that, right? And when you're doing this, go ahead and put some gloves on so my hands don't get all oily up. Did you do a thing? No, you're good, you're good. Did I do a thing? What do you mean, did I do a thing? I'm doing my thing, you know what I'm saying? Feels nasty. So tomorrow, I think we're going to, and we're actually going to use this base gasket. That way I don't have to wait. If you use a base gasket, it's easier. For the cleanup. Doesn't actually look bad. Should I have another one? No, so I'm not like posting the lives. If you're not here live with me, you don't get to see it. Sorry. And like usually I do them 6 a.m. in the morning, but I work a lot more hours this week than he likes. So that's what's up. All right. Let's see. I think I have a cylinder actually that's ready to rock and roll. I do. What is this? All right. Let me see. See, I really should put a new piston in. Do I have one? It's nice. What's this one look like? This one looks good. Wow. Look at that. This piston is big for this. This is a 48mm piston. Ooh, yes. Let me see. That's sexy. Yes, 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 yes. Okay. OEM. Used. Everything's used in here, man. You can go on eBay and you can get these parts pretty cheap. I think you can pick these up for under $100. So I always like OEM. Like I measured an. Yeah, you guys are talking about the Russians when the Russians surprised me, so to speak. Yeah, that was a weird video.
What you say?
I said, "What up? How you doing?"
Good. You?
Good. You guys videotaping me?
Yeah.
I'm from North Carolina. Where are you guys from?
From Russia.
You're from Russia? Cool. What's your name?
Andrew.
Andrew. I'm Bobby.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. What's your name?
Johnny.
Johnny?
Yeah.
From Russia too?
Yeah.
How old are you? How old are you?
17.
17?
22.
22. Nice to meet you guys.
Nice. You like Ukraine or Russian? You like Ukrainians or Russian?
I mean, I probably like everyone. Like, I probably would like Ukrainians and Russians. It's hard to generalize everyone. Are you asking me to take a side on the war? Is that what the question is? Or you just, if I like people?
No, what country you like more? Ukrainians or Russian, you know?
So, to be honest with you, I haven't been to Russia or Ukraine.
Never?
Never. I've been to Europe, but I've never been to Russia or Ukraine. So I don't know who those guys were. They were just videotaping, apparently, randos. Am I glitching? We're having thunderstorms here. I think that's actually on my mobile connection instead of my Wi-Fi. So maybe Wi-Fi. Yeah, you know it. I'm sorry about that, guys. Yeah, they must be. Let me see if I can get that going. Forgive me, folks. We are not having good internet connections right now. Alright. I think we're back. We're in North Carolina. North Carolina. Cool. Better now, yeah. I got back on the Wi-Fi. I think we should be good to go now. Sorry about that. Having a lot of storms going on, so. So yeah, the Russians, they surprised us. My buddy was like, these two guys are outside videotaping you. And, you know, he was like, you know, do your thing. So, yeah, they definitely ambushed me. So, we were looking for a parking spot, and we actually noticed those two guys on our first go round that they were walking around like a couple of tourists with their phones, like, you know, videotaping everything. And then, yeah, and then when we parked and they started videotaping me, I was just like, oh, you know, this is going to happen quick. If it happens, right? But it didn't. Oh, man. So, yeah, I had a stressful week this week. I've been really busy at work. Super busy. Like 12-hour days. Like, not happy. Like, that's why we're in the shop tonight. So, coming in the shop is a nice place where we can just play with, like, toys, like chainsaws and such. And, you know, it's okay. There's no boss here telling me what to do, telling me I have to get this done, get that done. I can do whatever I want here, right? It's like my little chainsaw world. Woo! Yo, what's up, Samuel? Everything's good, bro. We are here in the shop on Friday night, hanging out, right? It's always good. It's the weekend, right? Happy weekend to all my fellow followers. I hope you guys are doing well. And, yeah, we're just playing around with this chainsaw. I'm actually going to put this cylinder piston on this saw, on an 034. Because that's what I feel like doing tonight. It is funny, like, it's funny that I like chainsaws, right? Like, what else would I have a hobby to? What up? My boy Brian just joined. We are just hanging out on Friday, playing in my shop, doing stuff with chainsaws, like putting a new cylinder piston onto this 034, right? Because I don't know, I got nothing else to do tonight. It's raining, kids are in bed, so yeah, rock on in the shed. I should put some music on, but I'm live with y'all, so. Most American hobby ever. Where are you from, Byron? Byron. You at the boatyard? I'll have to get maybe I'll Uber out there after my live. Dude, I should come out. My buddy Brian, thanks for the invite, bro. Maybe I will come out there. Inspired. Indeed. Yeah, man. So, let's go ahead and get this piston off. And what do I like to use for this? I like to use my little forceps. Dun, 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 dun. We're gonna get medical on these motherfuckers. So these little rings here, they have these are wrist pin stoppers, and I'll show you one. Okay, so that is the wrist pin, right? So it comes off. What do I do for work long days? I work for a law firm. It's top secret. So I'm just gonna set this ring down. Yeah, so I work for a law firm, and I'm on a computer for anywhere between 10 and 12-hour days. Actually, so I had you want to hear something funny? I had a review back in December, and my boss was like, yeah, you help out when you need to, but you could, you don't work the full 10 every day. I'm like, the full 10? What the fuck is that? Like, full 10? Who the hell works a full 10? So yeah, like, that's like the going normal is like 10 minimum, right? Like, so, but 12, 13, like I had 13 hours, 9:30 the other night. Like, Americans work hard, bro. Like, no doubt about it. Work hard, play hard. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Sweden, what up? That's so cool that you guys are listening to me from Sweden, watching me pull out this piston. So there's two of these little wrist pins in here, and you only have to take out one, take the piston out, right? So I'm pushing that through just like that. Oh, and there's that. Pretty simple, right? Not too hard. Pretty nice. No piston, right? And we're gonna reuse these rings because they haven't been worn. They're fine. You can reuse it. I'm all about reusing stuff. So it's 1:35 here for Samuel. Appreciate you staying up, hanging out with us in the shed, working on saws. Woo! So actually, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. If you guys know how to leak test and build a chainsaw, you guys can go out there and buy a bunch of broke saws for like nothing. People are like, they'll give it to you sometimes, right? $50, $100, right? And you do a little work, all of a sudden you're selling a used saw for $300, and you're making, a nice profit on a little bit of money, right? You might put $100 into a saw and sell it for $300. That's a nice return, right? Do I have any videos on YouTube? No, I do not. I'm thinking about starting a YouTube channel though, because I think it'd be fun, right? I want to do like jet skis and chainsaws and like two-strokes. Like, I've actually been toying around with the idea of starting a two-stroke LLC, like, so. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, I've been thinking about it. Actually, I'll tell you what. This past weekend, I didn't do a live at 6 a.m. and one of my followers messaged me and was like, dude, did I miss the live? What time do you do it? Like, I was like, oh, dude, thanks, man. I was tired and I didn't feel up to it, so I didn't do it. But you guys motivate me to get up and go do this, turn the video on. So it's kind of fun. Yeah, I will. Appreciate that. So yeah, that is, I'm pretty anal. Like, I guess that's a little bit of scoring. I'm sure that'll clean up, right? I'm sure we can reuse this, right? And I just kind of taking parts off, putting parts on, playing around, right? Like, but yeah, this is clean. This is new. That's what we're going to put on. So yeah. Appreciate it. Yeah, I've been thinking about a YouTube channel. I think that'd be kind of fun. So if you guys are doing this, right? If you are putting on new pistons, I want you to notate. Let me see. My fucking camera's shitty. I gotta get a better camera for y'all. So on these pistons, there's an arrow, and that arrow is always going to be pointed towards your exhaust. Okay, so just remember that, or send me a message if you're, or look up any of like these chainsaw guys that work on it. Dude, it is so satisfying to fix up a broken chainsaw and put it in the wood. It is like my boss could be like rubbing my face in some fucking mistake that I just did, like a dog that just shit in the house, you know, like really like rubbing my face in it, right? And going and putting that fucking chainsaw that I've built into the wood and just fucking feeling that shit. Whoa! Like, that's cool. And I burn wood, so it makes sense, right? I burn a lot of firewood, and I like chainsaws. So, you want to find that video of me? Look up JANI2K. His name's Yanni2K. I think that's like the user. And you'll see him on Instagram. Thanks, Samuel, for joining. Have fun. All the way from Sweden. That's cool, bro. Have a good night. Sleep well, my friend. All right, Emily. See you in a bit. All right, we are going to put this piston on, guys. This piston is going on this crank. Dun, da, da, da. Actually, I almost forgot. We got to take off the other wrist pin. You know, I kind of want to go to Boatyard, actually. Sometimes this is a little bit baked on. This one's a little bit cooked. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to use a little bit. So yeah, if you want to know about something, if you think this is fun, do this with jet skis. Now that's really fun. Last year, you can see it on my account. There's a video of it. My wife brought home a jet ski. She paid $300 for it with the trailer, right? Now this thing was fucking nasty. She said it started, but it didn't start. Well, I worked on that. I ordered some parts. I knew what I needed to do. And I started working on that thing at 7 a.m. in the morning. And I had it sold by 7 p.m. that night. It was like one of my record flips. It was incredible. I paid $300 and I sold it for $1,400. Now, what did I do? I did a full rebuild on the carburetor. I changed out the fuel lines. No, I didn't change out the fuel lines. I changed out the foot pads. I'd rather change out the fuel lines. The foot pads that was a bear. Scraping off the old ones with Gooby Gun. That's not fun. So yeah, it's about to be jet ski season, right? And so, I was able to get one of my jet skis for a pretty good deal because it wasn't running actually when I bought it. So that's, you know, kind of I never forget it. Like, my wife came home from work and I had 2 broken jet skis in the driveway on top of my other 2 jet skis. So we had 4 jet skis in the driveway. And she said, "What are those?" I was like, ah. But I got the two of them with trailers for $3,000. So, but yeah, that's what really was like, huh. Now, I knew I was gonna have to do a rebuild on the carburetors for that the Sea-Doo. That's the one I really wanted, but I had to kind of buy both of them to get the Sea-Doo. So we did that, and it was a good time. It was a learning process. Anybody got guesses on how long it took me to rebuild the carburetors that first time on a Sea-Doo 98 GTX with dual Makuni carbs? Am I the only two-stroke guy on here? Oh my God. Whew! 13 years. 13 years to rebuild carburetors? No. It took me 3 weekends. Now I could probably do it in a couple hours. But, like, the first time, I was so worried about ruining these carburetors. Like, the rebuild kit cost me $200 just for the rebuild kit, right? So I was like, damn, I don't want to fuck this up. And so, like, I had everything, like, laid out on my desk. I had, like, videos up. I had manuals printed out. And, like, yeah, I went to work. And then completely stripped down the carburetors. Like, put them in the ultrasonic cleaner. Repainted them. Oh, it was really cool. New fuel lines. Now, I'm not gonna lie. I think it took me 6 hours to pull the carburetors off the jet ski. That was a pain. That was like I would much rather work on a jet ski motor outside of the engine. I mean, pulled the engine outside of the jet ski, because you're sitting here blind trying to learn how to do things backwards. It's really awkward. And you're trying not to, like, drop bolts into the jet ski bottom. So yeah, jet ski work is not easy, right? And it hurts the ribs. And I think that's why I like chainsaw work, because it doesn't hurt the ribs. I can play in my shop. I can turn the air conditioning on. I can do lives with you guys. So, but I will do it because jet skis are fun. Like, you know, like, my kids like them. My wife likes them. You know, it's cool taking out some old school, shiny, really nice looking jet skis. I don't know, like, the sound, the way they perform. Like, your late 90s jet skis will outperform your brand new jet skis. When it comes to nimble, agility, jumping. Now, top speed, the new jet skis will win. You know, a lot of them are supercharged, and they're like big boats. They're about 1,000 pounds heavier. But yeah, that's why I really like those 1990 models jet skis, because they're so light, they're so simple. You don't need any fancy tools and equipment to work on them. You just need some grit, so to speak. And don't get me wrong, I like the fancy tools, but I don't like to spend a lot of money on my toys, right? These are all just toys, right? So, you know, work hard, play hard. Buy these things for cash. Don't borrow money for anything. So, yeah, the jet skis are fun. My kids love them. It is a workout. Like, my arms were really sore. I was riding hard last weekend. I didn't actually want to go, but my kids were like, yes, we gotta go, Daddy, please. I'm like, all right. So yeah, that's what we did. And like I said, tomorrow morning, we're gonna be up 6 a.m. doing the starter, and that's going to be fun. I think I'm going to enjoy that. Why? Because I've already done it before. It's always a lot more fun when you've done something. So hopefully it goes smooth. You know, I don't want to jinx myself. But yeah, tonight we are going to rebuild this saw and do this. So, you know, you guys say that I can open up my own shop doing that, and it's funny because it's always been in the back of my mind, like, hey, you know, you could service this part of the lake with your two-stroke knowledge, you know, but a lot of the mechanics say they don't want to pay for the work. People don't want to pay $1,500 to rebuild a jet ski, right? That's just not something that a lot of people are willing to do. A lot of people can't even ride jet skis, right? They say, oh, my back, and oh, this, and oh, that, right? Now, not gonna lie, I got a neighbor who's 70 years old who rides a GTX Sea-Doo next to me. And then I got another neighbor who's like 65 years old, and he rides the hell out of his Kawasaki 1100. I mean, that guy fucking rides, you know? So it's not like you're too old to ride. And yeah, you know, well, here's the thing, Emily. As soon as you make it a business and you start taking money from someone, the fun really comes out of it. Like, the pressure's there, the time, you know, the joking around, like, hey, you know, that's my, you know, you're working for me type of mentality, right? Like, you have that kind of customer that comes in. And the other thing is these two-strokes, because they're 30 years old, right, there's all sorts of things that are constantly needing, like, this, that, this knick-knack, that knick-knack. New fuel lines, you know, a rebuild, and people just kind of get tired. Like, it's funny, today, nobody knows how to rebuild a carburetor. Everyone just wants to pay somebody else to do it. And they don't want to pay for that because it just costs so much, right? So, it's funny, it's, for me, guys, for the glitch. Yeah, I mean, and, you know, with me working so much, like, this is why it's fun for me, because I'm sitting here completely frozen. We're back. Okay, good. So, yeah, I mean, here's the thing. If you were my neighbor and you live near me and you needed help, I'll like give you the books. I'll point you on. I'll come over there and I'll point to you, but I'm not gonna wrench for you. Like, that's the whole thing. Is like, I want people to go out and wrench on these things. I just want to have fun. I don't want to be like fixing everyone's. I mean, don't get me wrong. If I was to lose my job that I have, right, that would definitely be an option for me to say, hey, we may open up a two-stroke shop because that'll make me happy, right? But, in my opinion, there's a reason why all these people didn't want to work on two-strokes anymore, right? Around here. And the other part of it is everyone has new jet skis around here, right? All these people look at me like, dang, you're riding that old jet ski with the mantra of, oh, it's not reliable, you're going to break down on the lake, you know? So, you know, and I'm not going to lie. Like, I've been riding for 5 years. I broke down once, right? On one of my jet skis last summer on July 4th. But It didn't even make me mad. It's just like, oh, I know what's wrong with it. I can fix that if I want to. So yeah, and the other thing is you can spend a lot more fixing a jet ski than they're actually worth, right? So I can go out here and buy, right now on the Facebook Marketplace, a running 2-stroke jet ski for anywhere from $1,500 to $2,500, right? So when you start looking at repairs and things like that, you're like, well, I can just go buy a running one for that kind of repair, right? So there's that. Which actually I did, right? So funny enough, that jet ski that broke on the July 4th, I haven't fixed it yet because I bought another jet ski in October. It was such a great deal. Like, the guy that bought it because he needed the boat slip. And the only way he could have the boat slip is if he bought this jet ski with it. Well, this jet ski was mint. I mean, it was a 1994 Yamaha Wave Blaster. Like, it's sick. It had like 24 original hours on it. It had all the original owner's manual. It was actually, I don't know if you guys probably don't know this, but there's an Autobell car wash that has probably over 100 car washes here in North Carolina, but it was his. And so I got his jet ski, and it's awesome. It's like a blast from the past, time capsule, straight up. Like, I've already put 75 hours on it, or it's up to 75 hours now. It's lightweight. It weighs 450 pounds. So yeah, compared to some of these 12, 15, 1700 pound jet skis. I do want to pay people to do stuff. I hear you, Emily. My wife, she's like, that's your job, Bobby. And again, like, I think if I had a job where I was wrenching, right, if this was my 2-stroke shop, Monday through Friday, I wouldn't want to do this on a Friday night or a Saturday morning. But because I'm sitting here typing away usually, or, whatever on the computer, I'm like, hey, let's go play with this. Let's do something like mechanical, right? Mechanically minded. Because that's what I joke about. Like, I'm basically a mechanic for my systems at work. So all I do is fix stuff all day long at work. So, and then I come here and I fix stuff like in the real world instead of the virtual world. So, Yamahas. I love Yamahas. So, my wife has a Yamaha 2-stroke. I have 2 Yamaha 2-strokes. I got the 700 and I also have an 1100. So they're both different, right? One's lightweight, nimble. The 1100 is fast, just raw fast. So cars, I used to tinker. Me and my friends in high school, we used to do all sorts of weird stuff on cars. Like, my one friend, Brett, we put a straight pipe. We took his Cadillac converter right off, put a straight metal pipe on his Ford Probe. I don't even know if you guys remember what a Ford Probe is. So that's really aging me. But I want to say it was like a 1994, 1995 Probe. Or like, we were putting Ram Air on my Mustang, doing all sorts of like different modifications on my Mustang when I was in high school. My friend had a Volkswagen and a Mitsubishi Eclipse. My 2 buddies did. So yeah, see, truck, I mean, driving's pretty hard, bro. I'm not gonna lie. That's a hard job. Stressful, hard on the body, hard to get your reps in, so to speak, hard to get your exercise in. These all sound like cars from the 19... Emily, you're funny. Like, what are you, like, a 2000 baby? Like, born in 2001? A 1994 Probe. Yeah, I guess that's a really old car to you young kids, huh? Man. Now I feel old. talking about my Ford Probes. My other friend had a 1989 Volkswagen Jetta. Yeah, 2001. That's funny. Yeah. When was I born? I was a 90s kid. Yeah, I was definitely a 90s kid. I was born in 1984. I was kicking doors in 2001. Anyway, sometimes these rings get a little hairy, and they just kind of, you just want to take your time, and you don't want to rush. If you rush with this kind of stuff, that's when you make mistakes, right? A lot of the movies, things that, you rush. No, you go slow and you take your time, and you repeat until you can't make a mistake. That's the difference. So yeah, we are almost there, guys, but this is just kind of fun. I don't know, like, some people like to watch TV. I like to play with saws, right? I like to come play in my shop, do these little fun activities, right? Like, you guys remember activity time in school? I know you guys do, right? Like, my kids have it, right? They have centers, and they go from, like, you do this, you cut and paste, and you go to painting, and you do all sorts of stuff. Like, painting, right? Oh, look, painting! Yeah, I was going for, like, a Halloween blacked out saw, and I started painting, get bored. Alright. Chainsaw time. Yeah. So yeah, I am respectful of the neighbors. We are not going to run this tonight, but we're going to put this together. Dun, dun, dun. And it's a little bit more complicated when I'm live putting this together. I don't know if you guys have ever done lives before, but I think it's the coolest thing ever. Like, I was just like, oh, I can go live, and like, I don't have to record it. You just have to be there, and if you're there, you get to see it. It's kind of cool. I like it, the idea. Now, is it recorded somewhere? Most definitely. It's definitely somewhere in some, like, server, like metadata. Saved 1997. What's up? 1997. So, you want to hear something funny? My wife has 5 brothers and sisters. 5. Right? So it's like, dang. But yeah, one of them was born in 1997. People watch you. Yeah, they do watch me tinker in Sweden. It's kind of cool. Sweden has long winters, right? Long winters. Short days. But yeah. Oh, this feels not good. So we're going to... Alright guys, you want to see a cute little hammer? That's my cute little hammer. It's this little small hammer. This is a normal full-size claw hammer. Never been to Sweden. I would like to go. I'd like to see the Northern Lights up in Sweden. Been to Canada for sure, but Sweden, that'd be cool. The Swedes actually, yeah, they have some nice saws, like Husqvarna. What kind of tools you got, Emily? Emily's got some tools, guys. Like, Why don't you guys throw out your favorite tools? I think you guys all know what my favorite tool is. Emily's tools are all pink. What am I doing? All the tools. You have all the tools. Emily, are you a mechanic? Ah, the jet ski's not a tool. That's a toy. I can get away with calling a chainsaw a tool because I burn firewood and it's a tool to cut firewood. But a jet ski, burning gas, burning oil, like, that's a pretty American thing to do. Like, definitely not environmentally friendly. Like, that's the other thing is like, these new jet skis are a lot more environmentally friendly because the oil stays in. It's clean, but they're heavier, they're more complex, they're more expensive, and they're not as reliable. Like, I would argue that those are just as unreliable as these. Like, I know 2 different people with 2025 Yamahas, and both have had theirs in limp mode and had to go to the shop and pay over $1,000 to have them reset. You're like, you didn't even replace any parts. You plugged your computer into it and reflashed the drive or whatever, and now you're charging me $1,000 for that? This isn't even under warranty? Like, I'd be mad, right? But that's me, right? Oh, chainsaws, hell yeah. Chainsaws use hella gas. Now, you can buy electric saws, but the only thing cool about electric saw is I can cut early in the morning, late at night, no one's going to complain. You know, I have a 30-piece crappy tools. Hey, you know what, though? A crappy tool will work. And if you're not playing around with chainsaws and stuff, it'll work, right? You're using it once a year, you know, twice a year maybe. So yeah, I'm impressed that you have it. I'm impressed that you're willing to go and use those tools and not, you know, just go without or whatever, right? And that's the other thing is, I think with this throwaway society, people lose that idea or that confidence of being able to fix something. Like, you're not going to, like, in this journey of mine, I've not been perfect. I've definitely junked some saws before, right? Like, I remember this crankshaft sheared the key off, so it doesn't work, right? So you know what I did? I rebuilt the bottom end, put a new crank in. You spent $1,400 at the mechanic today? Oh my God. Yo, can we get like a donation set up for my girl Emily to help pay for that? How do we do that? Damn, Emily, that sucks. Like, that's what I'm talking about, but you'd rather have that car than go out and buy some new thing that might break and give you all sorts of issues, right? Sheared the key right off. Yes, please. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm about to do. Emily, I'm right there. Like, this Wednesday, funny enough, my check engine light came on, and I drive a 2005 Jeep Grand Cherokee that I've had paid off for years. I'm just like, I work from home, so I don't even drive anywhere except to pick up my kid from daycare, right? And I know, like, there's all sorts of things, and it's going to be like $3,000-$4,000, you know. And I'm like, do I really want to pay that, or do I want to get that new Wrangler that I think a Wrangler would be cool? Like, I really want a red manual Wrangler, two-door for sure, two-door. Anyway, yeah, car work's not cheap, and you know, in this country, in America, it's really hard to get away with not having a car. It's like, how many jobs require transportation? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not getting away with not really having a car, right? Appreciate that. You know, it's only now that I'm starting to get nice, fun things. I didn't always have nice, fun things. In fact, I can remember when I was at the beach and I saw these things at the beach, and I was just like, man. And I was probably like 8 or 9 years old. You need a car. In the land of chainsaw and jet skis, you need a car. Yeah, I need a car, but I've got a Jeep that runs, right? And I can go get that going. But my question is, do I want to put $3,000 into my Jeep Grand Cherokee, right, and get it all tip-top shape and sell it for like maybe 5 or 6, and then put that towards my Jeep Grand Cherokee, towards a Jeep Wrangler? I don't know. Yeah, no, like I don't like to spend the money. Like the jet skis are all like I bought not running. You know what I'm saying? So I got good deals. Like if they're not running, you can you can really talk them down. Like that's the thing. You go see something not running, and you take cash. Psh, they're so excited that you showed up. You offer them half. You know, I can remember. My wife, she really loves the lake. I love the lake. And we finally had saved up enough for a ski boat. Like, we really wanted a ski boat. Like, I water ski a lot. And we had a kid at the time. And we were going to go look at a bunch of boats. And the first boat we looked at was close to my neighborhood. And they were asking $7, and I didn't really like it. She didn't really like it, so... And I just threw a number out there thinking... I threw $4,500 out there, cash. I was like, I've got $4,500 in $100 bills, and I'll take this boat off you tonight. And he's like, no, let me think about it. And so we went and got ice cream. Told him to call me. He didn't call me. When I got home, he called me. He was like, all right, come pick it up. And I was like, all right. So I got my ski boat for $4,500. And that was 6 years ago. But yeah, like, there's deals out there. And part of it is, working hard, saving up, having that cash ready to rock and roll. Because you never know when shit can happen. I had a boss one time who had a boat, and he had a payment on it, and he had like a payment to store it, and so like he had all this money going out just to have this boat. And then COVID happened, and they cut his salary in half, and he literally almost filed bankruptcy. It was craziness. And I'll never forget, like, wow, I can't imagine the stress to be under that kind of stress, right? To have all that debt for toys that you don't even need, right? Tied up for 10 years, 20. Some of these people have 20-year loans on these things. And, when the economy's failing and you're trying to sell these toys, no one's going to have money for these toys, right? So yeah, but we got the boat, and I did a little bit of work. It's definitely needed some work, right? But it's been great, and my kids don't notice that it's like a small, dinky little boat. Like, there's all these $300,000 boats on the lake, and here's my $4,500 1984 ski boat that, hey, it pulls me water skiing. It does 45 miles an hour. Like, it does its job, so how can I really complain, right? I'm on the lake. I'm not putting a lot of money on it. I don't owe anything on it. And it just takes some work, right? Like tomorrow morning, we're going to put a starter on. I'm going to rip the exhaust off, pull the starter, put the new starter in, put the exhaust back on, and then I'll be ready to rock and roll. Oh yeah, it's been awesome 6 years. Like, you know, I think to myself, sometimes people get repair bills for their boats for $4,500, you know? So I really am not unhappy with the purchase. I think it's great, you know. Now it's funny. As soon as we bought the boat, right, me and my wife are out on it, and she realizes something's not right, finds out we're pregnant. And I'm like, oh my God, you know? She's like, doctor's like, you can't ride on a ski boat. I'm like, oh my God, dude. So, but yeah, Trevi loves my son. He came right when we got the boat. And so, yeah, that was cool. All right, guys. So, thanks for being here with me. We're putting the clips on. And we're going to slide this cylinder on down, guys. So, yeah. That's what we're doing today. Tonight. Fixing the chainsaw. Now, I probably would have had this done, but I've been yapping all night. And it's been fun. I'm not gonna lie. It's been fun yapping with y'all. And I needed it. With the stress that I had this week. Alright. So, once you go down there, you flip this around. Alright. Okay. So what I'm doing right now, guys, is I'm putting these back bolts in because they're a lot easier to put them in the slots before you cinch it down onto the case. So, I know I'm going to sound like a grandpa here, but when I was in high school, they used to have a class called Auto Tech. Do you have family nearby or a babysitter? You should plan a date and go get massages and etc. You know, I do have family nearby, and I could plan a date like that for me and my wife to go get massages. That's a good idea, actually. I don't really get So, I don't get massages because my wife is a really good masseuse. Like, I'm not gonna lie. So I'm gonna brag on my wife for a minute. My wife trained at the Olympic Development Training Center for women's wrestling. Now you're gonna be like, what? Yeah. So part of the training is where like you're literally massaging on your partner because you're so sore, your muscles are so sore from working out so strenuously. They teach you how to massage the muscles to move it off the bone and whatnot to allow for a faster recoup. Back in my day. Well, things have changed. I mean, we're not in the 90s anymore, right? Like, I look back to the 90s and I think that was like when they had good sitcoms, right? Like Full House is still around. Like, I don't know. I can't believe that my kids are watching Full House. I'm like, well, I watched that show, right? Like, that was from the 90s, right? I think that the 90s are really, really nostalgic for me. I think that was a really good time in my life. Drake and Josh is the last sitcom. Yeah, I mean, TV's kind of dead as we know it, or as I used to know it, right? Like, my poor dad, he's 82, okay? Can you imagine an 82-year-old trying to figure out all the different apps? Like, me and my 40-something-year-old friends, we can't figure out how to watch NFL football games. Okay, we're all sitting here like asking our wives, could you find a game for us on one of the apps, please? You know. And my poor dad, he's just like, I'm about to get satellite. I can't do this app bullshit. But yeah, you know, and that's I guess there's a lot to do in Malaysia. Probably a lot of beaches and cool things to do. What up, everybody? Good morning. Thanks for joining. What up? What up? Good morning. Good morning. So, I was just talking about that clip. And now I've lost it already. It'll come back up. It'll come back up. Hey, hey, what's going on? Intake boot never wants to cooperate. There we go. All right. Got my coffee, gearing up for the day. Hells yeah. Cheers, mate. Cheers, mate. Cheers to the weekend. Hoorah for Saturday. I'm excited for Saturday. Who else is excited for Saturday? We got a lot of things to do today. I got to clean up this shed. Find that ring I was just showing you guys. Maybe I'll go back on the video and figure out what the hell I did with it. And put this old piston away. And no worries. I got another piston clip. Oh. So I was live last night, actually. I was so amped up. I went live last night and we started playing with this saw. And I'm still pretty amped up. I don't know. I can't seem to relax. I don't know what's going on with me. Nope, that's not it either. Let's see if I can find another clip. Here we go. I've got one right here. Perfect. That will work. So, that's that little clip I gotta put in right here. And it's not always the easiest. What I like to do here is take my little forceps and we're gonna so that's what I like to do. I like to get it on the edge right there, and we're going to put it right into this hole, and you can see how it seats. So you kind of want to just guide it in, and there's a place for this clip to sit in. And this is probably one of the harder parts, one of the harder things to do. And I don't know, is this the right clip? Yeah, it is. So, you guys are quiet this morning. No questions. No comments. We got people from Rwanda. Where else are we watching from? Southern Oregon. Anywhere else? Last night we had people from Sweden. It's kind of cool. And feel free to ask me questions, man. Like, what are you doing, Bobby? What's going on? What are we doing here? So what we're doing here is we're just being productive with our spare time. You know, some people like to some people have all different kinds of hobbies, right? Some people like to watch sports, right? Some people like to play golf. I like to tinker around in the shed and play with chainsaws. So that's something that like gets me going, has me something to look forward to on my lunch break, right? Putting some saws into wood, so to speak, which honestly, I can see myself doing today. It's nice and cold. And yeah, might have to put this baby in wood since I'm building it. No. So this saw, because it's painted black, it's kind of like my play saw. If I was to sell this saw, I'd probably paint the case white and do everything original, keep everything OEM. I found that if you're going to sell a saw, you're going to want to keep everything OEM, just because that's how everybody wants it. They don't want a saw that's been tinkering around with and whatnot. Now, if someone really wanted it and needed it, yeah, I guess I would sell it, because I could just get another one and rebuild it. But this is more about learning, having fun, and tinkering than flipping saws, so to speak. I think flipping saws just gives me the validation of, hey, this is a sustainable hobby. You can, sell this, take the money, and go buy another saw. That's, perfectly fine. And I do that sometimes. But this particular one, this one is just my play saw that I like to mess around with the cylinders. I've got different cylinders for it. I've got multiple cylinders, right? And so we can play around with different port numbers, different squishes. We can do different things with the same saw and get a dramatic difference in how it runs itself. And that's part of the unique engineering aspect of two-stroke motors. You see, this cylinder, right, and these two cylinders, they're all the same, but they all run slightly different. And that's part of why two-strokes are so alluring for me, because you can make the most minute changes and it will dramatically change how the engine runs. And learning all about this, for me, fascinates. It's fascinating. Getting more power out of a saw, getting a saw to be more efficient. That just translates into almost like racing, right? Like, getting every little bit of power out of something, right? At the expense of usually longevity. Usually. However, when porting right, you can actually maintain reliability. Just to throw that out there. Okay. So we've got that little clip set. So here is the top end, right? This is a cylinder, and that's the exhaust port, and that's the intake port, okay? So let's see if I can get some light on here. So that's kind of cool. So I guess it's not really coming through in this camera, but you can see how that exhaust port is shined out, right? And basically what I've done is I've taken something, one of these rotary tools, right? Something like that. And I've gone around and I've cleaned up this outer edge, right? So it's nice and shiny now. And why am I doing that, right? Why am I making that port all polished, right? What's the point of that, right? The point is, when your port is not clean, it will start to collect carbon, right? And I've seen where the carbon buildup actually starts to make that exhaust port smaller, right? So it actually begins to change the timing as your exhaust port starts out like this, right? The whole opening is this. Over time, it gets smaller because of that increased carbon buildup around that exhaust port, right? So one thing you can do is you can polish that exhaust port, right? You can polish it so that it's so fine that carbon will just leave the saw, and it becomes a lot harder to stick on those edges when you really get it a fine finish on that exhaust port. So that's one thing. The other reason is the less carbon buildup on there, the less heat is staying on that cylinder, and the more the heat is getting out of the saw, right? You want that saw to run a little bit cooler that way. And why are we doing that? Well, this is all about performance, right? And we want a lower temperature saw, right? Because we're adding increased pressures, increased forces on the saw, which should create more heat. So it's all these little things that work into a single two-stroke engine. It's really quite amazing. Like a little air pump, right? So you have an air pump, it's going to move a lot faster, right? A lot faster through something smooth than something that's rough. So that's the thing is, porting really isn't going to increase your power, not a lot, right? The reason why people port is so that they can move air faster. And that's the difference between power and speed, right? Like power is going to come from decking the cylinder, right? When you deck a cylinder, right, you're cutting off maybe 5/1000ths, 10/1000ths of an inch off the bottom, right? And what that does is it makes the cylinder come down just a little bit closer to that cylinder, right? You have the cylinder to the piston, right? So when that piston comes closer to the top of that cylinder, it makes a smaller combustion chamber. That smaller combustion chamber will increase the PSI, right? So you're going from, let's say, 150 PSI to 180 PSI of static compression, right? That compression alone, mixed with fuel and spark, will cause a more powerful explosion, increasing the power, right? So that's why people deck their cylinders, right? It's called decking, cutting the base. Now you can also cut the base and you can cut the squish inside. So the squish is down here at the bottom, at the top of the cylinder. And when I say squish, squish is a technical term. I'm not even joking. It's actually the distance between the piston and the top of the cylinder. That's squish. So when we're talking about squish, right, keep in mind, squish on any factory build saw is going to be anywhere from 30 thousandths to 50 thousandths of an inch, right? And what that does is it gives enough clearance so that the factory is not having to measure with a caliper the squish bands on all these different saws. They can sit there and manufacture, 10,000 saws, not worry about having to go in and measure the squish. Why are we talking about squish? Because squish is where you start performing increasing the performance on a chainsaw, right? So when we're talking about squish, 20 thousandths of an inch is usually where you want to be. That's the golden rule. Some people say you can go as small as 15 thousandths, right? But anything more than that, you're going to run the risk of piston slap. And that's actually when the piston hits the top of the cylinder. So yeah, that's my rant about two-stroke performance. And it's a lot easier to get performance out of a two-stroke engine just by simple modifications like this exhaust port, right? Now, I don't know if you guys want to talk about timing or if I should wait for port timing and talk about port timing at another time. You guys let me know if you want to talk about port timing and how this degree wheel is used to measure port timing, right? Because that's what this is all about, is learning about two-stroke engines. Okay, so we are putting this cylinder back on top of the piston. Now, before I do that, I want to make sure that we're really lubed up. Anytime you want to put metal on metal, you want to make sure there's lube on an engine. Otherwise, that's when bad shit happens. Good morning, guys. You guys are quiet this morning. What is up with that? Have some coffee. Get yourself going. Get yourself going in the morning. A little go juice. All right. 1, 2, 3. This is the magic one, and you can see, let me see, can you see the oil? Yeah, I put oil all up in that. I want that lubed up. Okay. So, I don't know how you guys want to do this. I generally use this clip right here. This is just a real easy clip. Slides on, and you can squeeze, right? You can squeeze the rings together to slide on the cylinder right on down, right? So I'm wondering, do I have any followers out there that have been following me and know what got me into chainsaws? What started me on this journey of chainsaws? No? Well, that's cool. I can tell you. So my other passion is jet skis. I don't know if you guys know, but I love jet skis. I've got a bad habit of collecting jet skis too. So that's why this whole thing has started, because I bought old two-stroke jet skis and found out after I bought them that nobody around here works on them. And I was like, really? Nobody works on two-stroke jet skis anymore? They're like, no, go buy a new one. And I was like, maybe I should learn how to work on two strokes. I think that would be helpful, right? And so, hence, it began working on chainsaws, right? And somewhere along the way, I realized this is kind of fun. I really like this. Instead of typing away and working on a computer for 10, 11, 12 hours a day, well, I still do that. But on my break and my time off, I love coming in here, tinkering around, building something, fixing something that's nasty, old, and broke, and making it pretty, working, functional, and perform better than when it came from the factory. Texas Chainsaw Massacre? You know, honestly, let's talk about that. The chainsaw is one of the most dangerous homeowner tools available. I don't think you could buy a more dangerous homeowner's tool. But for a massacre, I don't know how efficient that would be. It'd be a mess too. I mean, you'd have all sorts of shit flying everywhere. So I've always thought about that movie, The Chainsaw Massacre, and like, I've always thought the chainsaw is just, it's an efficient tool for slaughtering wood, right? It's a massacre for logs, but for people, come on, man. Now, I guess it would be kind of scary if someone was chasing you around with a chainsaw, but dude, that's really dangerous. Like, you're more likely to freaking chop your own hand off. Actually, guy lives next door to me. He's got his own tree service, and he's got a guy that works for him who's been cutting trees for 30 years, right? Think about that. Every day you're out there, you're cutting trees down for 30 years. Dude, last fall, right, cut 3 of his fingers off with a saw. 3 of them. I'm like, holy shit, you were going so fast, you didn't stop on the first one, you didn't stop at the second one, it took you to the third one to figure out that you needed to stop. So, yeah, chainsaws are dangerous. They are super dangerous. And you know what? I think that might be my allure to them. Oh. So, I wonder, what do all these, like, live guys that go live and stuff do when they have to go poop? Because that's actually coming up right now. All this coffee. Ugh. So, now's your time to ask me questions, guys. Let me know what you're thinking. Be right back. Sounds good, bro. All right, I need to go. Let's see. What the hell happened to that? Okie dokie. I'm going to be right back, guys. So thanks for staying. Give me 5 minutes because I'm going to run to the bathroom. I'm back, guys. Sorry for the delay. Good morning, good morning. Happy Saturday, y'all. Favorite day of the week. Fun fact. Did you guys know in countries like Iran Saturday is like a weekday. That's a fun fact. Next question. When anyone's working on something, right, like doing a project of some sort, do y'all keep your workspace clean? Or do y'all have a mess and then clean up after it's done? Don't all rush to answer at once. That doesn't fit. Good morning, good morning. Total mess. Hell yeah, Riggins. I'm right there with you, bro. We're going to be making a total mess all day. After I put this chainsaw together, we're almost done. We're going to move out to the carport once the light comes up, and we're going to start changing the starter on this jet ski. It's a 96 Yamaha 700T is the motor. It's my wife's 3-seater, so her and the kids can go out and have fun on it. It's all good. Got a really good deal on it. So yeah. And this is an 034, my personal 034 that I like to play with. And we basically pulled this cylinder off. And this piston off. Which I don't know why I put it in the box. I should go ahead and just put this on the... I should clean this up. We can reuse this piston. I actually changed it out because of slight scoring that I was, like, on the camera, it barely shows up. You can barely see it. It looks brand new, but there is slight scoring on that exhaust side, which is why, there, you can see it a little bit. You see that scoring right there? That's exactly why I took this piston out, because it was starting to score. And as soon as I felt that, I was like, nope, we gotta pull it, take it off, because it's gonna take away power, take away compression, and you can actually save it if you take it off soon enough, right? So you can save the cylinder and this piston just by sanding it, just by making it smooth again. So how did this get scored? I believe I didn't clean up the cylinder well enough. And so when that happens, it can actually very easily score the piston. The piston's a lot softer than the cylinder. And so what happens is the piston starts to scrape off and end up on the cylinder wall. What you then have to do is come in there with, like, some people use acid, but I just sand it right down and sand it all off. So yeah, that's why we are doing this morning. It's not just for shits and giggles. Still 034, 57cc, rated at 4.5 horsepower. It's like having 4.5 horsepower. What? It's probably rated a little bit more because still, number one, they like to sandbag their power ratings. So their saws are actually a little bit more powerful than what they're rated. And then with the performance gasket, I'm taking like 5/1000ths of an inch off the deck, so to speak. So that creates a smaller squish band by 5/1000ths of an inch. Which, that little 5/1000ths will create a dramatic increase just because of the compression change, the port numbers change, right? So that's why we do it, just to see. And we can take it off and put it back in again. So that's kind of what's so fun about it, right? You're not about to do this with your car, but with a chainsaw, like, oh yeah, let's play around with the chainsaw, see how it runs, right? See how it goes. And we're learning, right? We're learning this whole time about two-stroke engines, what does what. We're getting familiar with everything. So yeah. You guys asked me some questions. It's pretty quiet this morning. Y'all have been pretty quiet. What's up with that? Ugh. See if I can get this in here. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so when I am putting these screws down and you're torquing down these head bolts, you're going to want to torque them down in a X pattern, right? So wherever you start, you go diagonally and go to the next bolt. And I wonder what I did with that T-handle. No worries. I got another one. And I'm going to go ahead. Let me get this back on. Got the intake boot down. So here's a pro tip. It's going to be a lot easier to put your intake boot on. Can you see the intake boot? It's this black thing in between that goes from your carburetor to the cylinder. It's called an intake boot. It's going to be a lot easier to put it on and before you cinch down your bolts. So I just went ahead and put it on, and we are cinching down the bolts. But, you know, guys, if you do this yourself, you'll learn, oh, yeah, that's easier to put on before I cinch it down. Yeah, maybe I will do it on stream. Maybe since you guys are watching me build this, I'll go stream putting it into the wood, so to speak, right? And we'll see how this comes out. Ugh. And I'm going in my X pattern. Good morning, good morning. So yeah, basically put a new piston, new cylinder on my chainsaw this morning. Ugh. What am I doing right now? Making sure all my bolts, all these head bolts right there, right? You want those all nice and tight, right? Do any of my followers know about air leaks? Don't be shy. Use those fingers this morning. Ask me questions. No one knows about leaks. Well, air leaks is the number one reason that kills a two-stroke engine, whether it be a weed eater, a chainsaw, a jet ski, okay? Air leaks is your number one enemy. Basically, that can happen anywhere on the saw. You can have an air leak in the carburetor. You can have an air leak here. You can have an air leak here at the base gasket, right? And this is where two strokes fail. And this is where you become a real mechanic, is finding these air leaks. Why are air leaks so bad? Air leaks are bad because the saw receives its lubrication from the fuel mix of oil and gasoline, right? So there's a fuel, there's a fuel ratio of 40 to 1, 50 to 1. I prefer 40 to 1. It's just a little bit heavier oil mix. Factories want you to run 50 to 1, less oil, cleaner for the environment, worse for your saws. So 50 to 1, yeah, EPA loves it. 40 to 1, yeah, your saw, your bearings, they love all that extra oil. So in my opinion, run 40 to 1, get a little bit of longevity out of your two-stroke engine. Going back to air leaks. So this chamber is designed for a set amount of air and fuel mix, right? People talk about a saw running lean, right? There's lean where the fuel is mixed to lean, right? So that would mean that the fuel was actually measured incorrectly to where it's like 60 to 1, 71, because you didn't put enough oil in that gallon of gas or whatnot, right? So that would be a lean fuel mixture. But a lean air fuel mixture is what a true two-stroke leak is, right? That's where extra air is getting sucked into that motor, right? It's an air pump, right? So when that piston comes down, it's drawing all that air into that combustion chamber and slamming it up, right? That air, you want it all coming from this carburetor, right? You want that proper mixture of air and fuel and oil perfectly mixed, right? That's what these carburetors do. But if you got a hole, let's say if you got a hole here in your intake boot, or you got a hole down here, what they call a crank seal, where your crankshaft there's a crankshaft and then there's a seal around that crankshaft. A lot of times on these old saws, they will go bad, and they're made of plastic material, and they're designed to seal against air sucking in, right? So let's say down here there's a hole. That piston's coming down and it's creating a vacuum, right? It's sucking air through here and here, right? So now in this chamber, because you don't have enough fuel based on all that air, sorry guys, I'm getting a bad connection right now. I think my kids are using the internet. Talking about air leaks made my connection drop. Okay, so I think I'm back now. Sorry about that, guys. We're out here in the shed. The Wi-Fi doesn't travel from my house all the way out to my shed, or possibly my kids are up, waking up, turning on their dang iPads. What a crock. What a crock, if you ask me. So, you want to hear a rant this morning? I'll tell you a rant. These kids with their e-bikes, I got 13-year-olds on e-bikes. You know, it's just, I don't know what's up. That's better. I wonder if I can go from that way. Sorry, y'all. What's that look like? That's a little bit of a different view, right? Huh. Interesting. But I can't see the bench. What did I tell you guys? These lives are fun sometimes. I'm learning just like you all. Okay. So, this is cinched down. And e-bike epidemic. Yeah, it's not just an epidemic. It's like, hey, we're really training our kids not to use our muscles, right? And where does that trend lead to, right? Are we gonna have issues where like, oh, I can't even get up out of the morning because I never use my legs? You know, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm talking about jet skis and two strokes, and I love dirt bikes. Like I'm all about it, but you know, inside a neighborhood where people are like riding bikes, walking their dogs, no one wants to hear a silent e-bike, wee, 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 Like, take that to the track. Like, seriously, take that to the track. Anyway, amazes me. One of my neighbors, after I yelled at these e-bikers, had the nerve to call me up, calling me a fucking asshole. Said I'm the neighborhood asshole. I think I'm the fucking mayor. And he's calling me up after his kids terrorized the neighborhood. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But yeah, it is an epidemic. It's an epidemic because they're everywhere, and it puts pressure on these kids' parents to go buy a 2, 3, 4. I've seen these things cost $7,000 for one of these e-bikes, right? Like, and then it's like, what if your kid gets hurt on it, right? What if your kid doesn't even like it, right? You're out here dropping serious money on a toy, right? At the end of the day, it's a toy, and not even a good toy. Like, these dirt bikes out here, they're selling for like $3,500, right? And they're from 2001, 2002. Do you think one of these e-bikes 20 years from now is going to be selling for that? No, that e-motor's crap. These kids are sitting here swapping motors 1-2 years afterwards, right? So you're telling me you want a $3,000 e-bike, then they're sitting here swapping out the motor left and right, putting $2,000-$3,000 of upgrades on these things. And at the end of the day, right, at the end of 5 years, it ain't worth shit. You got weaker legs afterwards. Imagine the difference of buying like a BMX bike. Kids are doing like jumps, building jumps, right? That's when I was a little kid. When I was a little kid, I had a little bicycle gang. We were out there pedaling, making BMX, jumps to jump. And now these kids are literally riding around on e-bikes, terrorizing the neighborhood, and their grandparents are the enablers. That's who's buying it. They want to call me up, call me an asshole. So, sorry for the e-bike rant, but it's an epidemic. But there's always the people that ruin it, right? There's always that segment of the population that gotta ruin a good thing. So, you'll always have that. iPads and So, there's a lot of hate on the iPad, but guess what, y'all? I am on an iPad right now, coming to y'all live. So, and why? Because my freaking laptop broke. Died. I'm pretty sure it's the power supply, but I don't know. I'm tired of fixing electronics. Exhaust gasket. There's the exhaust port, guys. This is going on this. Hey! My brother-in-law and niece are on. Hey, good morning, guys. Happy Saturday. We just dropped this to PG. No worries. So we are putting together this chainsaw on a Saturday morning. Why? Because it's fun. Better than being on an iPad. Better than all the other things we could be doing at 6:30 in the morning. Unless you're running, right? So I've been running a lot lately. Not even for physical health, mental health. The tremendous amount of stress from working and whatnot, I find having a 30-minute run really is a nice reset throughout the day. Good morning, guys. We are putting together a saw that I changed out the piston and the cylinder this morning. So we took off this cylinder. It had a little bit of scoring on it, and we took off this piston. And why did we take off this piston? Because, let me see if I can get it for you. Right there, you can see where the scoring was. and so it was starting to lose compression. And anytime you feel like the saw or any two-stroke is starting to lose power, just go ahead and stop. Stop right there. The more you run something that's broken, the more damage you will cause. Oh, hey, my nephew Harrison's on. We are working on this chainsaw this morning. We built this chainsaw, and we had to take off the piston and the cylinder. So, this is the cylinder. It's what the piston goes up and down in. If I can find the piston that I just had. Here's the piston. It goes into the cylinder. Good morning, guys. Thanks for joining. We are playing with this Stihl 034. I have changed out the cylinder. I have changed out the piston. I need to tighten down the screw for the intake boot. And you guys asked me any questions about two-stroke engines and what exactly we're doing here. Because I don't know if you guys got my rant about air leaks or not. Air leaks. They'll mess up a saw so fast, and you can hear it. So I know a lot of you probably don't have any tools, but you can hear when it goes really high pitched, when it has that high pitch, wee, that's, or it's not idling right, or if you just let it sit and it will die on you, continuing to die. These are all signs of possible air leaks. And, you know, there's a lot of places that air leaks can happen. You can have an air leak in the carburetor. You can have an air leak in the intake boot, base gasket, crank seals. Like, these are all the places that can have failure points, basically, where air can suck in and create a lean situation in that chamber, right? That's how scoring happens. Scoring is a sign of lack of lubrication, right? When we put this cylinder on, we lubricated the cylinder with oil because you never want to have metal. So is this, right? They're both aluminum. But this is definitely a softer aluminum, and it will always scratch off onto the cylinder in here. All right, so, you know, it is fun because you don't need a big shop to do this. You can have a little bench, just a few tools. Sam, what is up? So, Sam was on here last night, and Sam is from Sweden, right? What up, Sam? Yeah, bro, I changed out that cylinder, changed out the piston, we're putting on the exhaust. We're going to put this in some wood today, bro. So yeah, I have a fun day planned today. Good morning, guys. I guess I had to restart the live. I'm having some technical difficulties this morning. I've been losing my internet all week. It's been kind of a pain. Makes me think maybe I need to upgrade my router, possibly. Get a repeater out here. Especially to get good service for y'all. Okay, guys, so this can be a challenge to get the exhaust with the gasket on. So what I like to do is put the gas like all in one. Push that bolt through, right? So now I have exhaust gasket. And just to start it. Do you think I'm gonna get some music out here? Good morning, good morning. What's your favorite band? That's a good question. I do like the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I kind of am a rock guy. I do like the Smashing Pumpkins. I'm an old school 90s rap guy. I mean, rock guy. I will listen to just about anything, though. But yeah, favorite band is probably going to be like the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Favorites. I think anytime they have an album, I'll go out and get it. Favorite band. What's your favorite band? For sure. I do listen to a lot of just some like funky jazz. Or yeah, that's really like what I like to listen to while I'm working. Something just calming. Classic rock. Hell yeah. Yeah, I like classic rock, man. Like classic rock is you know, there's like you can play that at a party, right? And everyone get down to some classic rock. It's got a nice broad scope for everyone to enjoy. I mean, yeah. Some Jim Morrison, some you guys like Grateful Dead? Just a little jam band action. All right, guys. So yeah, I think we basically changed out the piston and the cylinder this morning. Objectively the best. You're funny. So now that I just put this new piston in the cylinder, I'm just going to go ahead and take a compression rating off it. This is a compression tool specifically designed for two-stroke engines. It's got a Schrader valve on the end, and that's really what you're looking for with a two-stroke compression tool. $120. That's really low. Interesting. I wonder if that's even going to run. Huh. Well, that's okay. Compression usually goes up, but not by that much. I guess I'm gonna have to take that off. Clean this up. Get a light. So that's opened them up a lot bigger. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this cylinder and I'm going to put the cylinder back on because it had a lot more compression, a lot stronger than this current one. So I'm going to heat up my my ultrasonic cleaner. Throw this in there. What's the number you look for here? So I've been rambling a little bit this morning and forgot exactly what number you want me to recall. Riggins, I apologize. So just let me know. I'm going to clean up this cylinder basically with this honing. This is called a flex hone, and it's basically a sandpaper drum that I'm going to shove into. Oh, compression wise, yeah. So compression 120 run, right? 120 is basically the least amount of compression that you're going to want to have in a two-stroke before it starts having issues with running, power, etc. I personally like my saws to all be above 150 psi. Basically, you're getting it from the factory from 150 psi to 155 psi. And when you start decking these cylinders, right, you're bumping psi up to 125, 180, 190 psi. I was on one of my chats last night. I saw a guy laughing because I hate it when this happens, and it was like the compression was over 200 psi, right? And my 10, 12, 13 were 200 psi, right? And my 10, 12, 13, 15 thousandths of an inch off the cylinder, right? And they're really slamming that down, right? And when you start taking that much off, it starts changing the port timing numbers of your intake and your exhaust, because now you're lowering your cylinder, right? When I talk about port timing, right? This is a degree wheel. This is a timing wheel, right? And so as that piston as that crankshaft turns, right? And that piston goes up and down. That's where we measure our port timing numbers, right? So you're changing all your timing when you start decking a cylinder and you start taking the bottom off, bringing it down, increasing the power, and then porting the cylinders to increase the speed of the airflow. I don't even know. Can you see that? Yeah, there you go. That's a little bit better. Yes. So that's slightly wider. That's a slightly wider bottom transfer that I've widened. That's a stock. Ported. Stock. So why do we port? We port because we want to increase the speed. We want to get the higher RPMs. We want that saw to go from like 12,000 RPMs to 15,000. Like, wee, you know, if that's what we want. we can build a saw that doesn't necessarily have to go high RPMs. We can build one for more torque, right? We can build one so that you just want to bury it in wood and pull a freaking 28-inch bar, 30-inch bar. You're not going to necessarily make as wide a ports, right? You're going to worry about decking that cylinder down to increase the torque. So yeah, that's basically one of my ported cylinders, right? And we shine up the exhaust so that... reason why people polish the exhaust is so that the carbon buildup... let me see. You see that? Yeah. The carbon buildup is non-existent on that, right? So can you guys see that exhaust port? I've ran this cylinder. This is the cylinder we took off this morning. And you guys can see how I polished it to a shine. And there's really not any exhaust on there, right? And that's what you're looking for. Lower operating temperatures, gets that heat out, and it stops the carbon buildup that actually, makes your exhaust port smaller over time. So yeah, let's go ahead and turn this on. So you know what I'm probably going to do this morning, guys, is go for a little jog. And get ready to work on the jet ski starter. All right, guys. Well, I've got another 4 minutes left. We'll go till 7. I always enjoy these lives, actually. I didn't do one last week. Busy last weekend, but yeah, when I will, and have some shop time, I will share my shop time with you guys. Because it's kind of fun. Having people to hang out with while I work on. This is just a unboxing of an OEM used starter. So we're going to install that today. It's a starter for my 700. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah. Have some coffee. Get you some, Riggins. Yeah, get you a little jog. 30 minutes. Remember, 30 minutes is the key. I don't care how fast you go. Just get 30 minutes for that heart, right? Yeah, thanks for joining, bro. We will spend the next few minutes cleaning up and start our day. Yeah, it's good to get a little morning jog in. Dun, dun, dun. I do need to put these in the ultrasonic cleaner before I go. That is what I do need to do. So we got that going. Oh, my sister just joined. What's up, Caroline? We're about to end at 7, but yeah, Thanks for joining Shop Time with Bob. Yeah, we changed out this piston, cylinder. We're going to reuse both for this old chainsaw. So, I don't know what you guys are using, but this is what I'm using. For my ultrasonic cleaner, some Simple Green. You can buy it by the 2.5 gallon for the economical cost. Alright. All I'm going to do is I'm going to put some of that Simple Green and some water in this bag. I'm going to throw these in the ultrasonic cleaner and let the ultrasonic cleaner do its thing. Thanks, Riggins. I'll see you next week. We'll do this next Saturday morning if you guys want to come in. 6 to 7. Okay, so the reason why I put them in bags inside my ultrasonic cleaner, because then you just throw the bag away and you don't have to clean the ultrasonic cleaner. And I just fill the ultrasonic cleaner with water. Alright, guys. Thanks for joining. We'll see you guys next week. Later, y'all. Good morning. Good morning. How's it going, everybody? Thanks for joining. Welcome to my live. We are in my shed, my shop, my saws this morning, and we're hanging out. We're working on a 026 this morning. So yeah, if you guys have any questions or comments, just type them down and we'll try and address them. But yeah. Hey, what's up? What's going on? Byron, thank you so much for making sure that I got going this morning. I've been absent a few weeks, so I'm gonna get this show back on the road. So I guess some of you may have seen that I was on vacation last month. Went up to the mountains and did some hiking. It was a lot of fun. And of course, I found this saw, 026, and I had seen it before. It was, it's a funny story. I'd seen it. We went up there, and I was like, hey, Elizabeth, my wife, I was like, you okay? I get a saw? She's like, yeah, that's okay, you know. Like, cool. So we're eating dinner in this little place up in the mountains, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll try and do that deal at the. And then I thought, no, we'll wait. And then the next morning, I ended up messaging the guy, and he was like, yeah, and here's the address. Well, the address was actually 15 minutes further outside of the town than I thought we were going to, so it's like a 30-minute drive. But anyway, this dude was like super old, super cool, and he works at the dump. He used to. He was retired. Old guy in the mountains, worked at the dump, and this saw came in there completely covered, flooded, at a Hurricane Helen. I don't know if you guys heard about Hurricane Helen, but
and he saved it, right? So he tried to save it, and he couldn't get it running right. And I was like, I don't care. I'm not interested if it's running right. I really just want the parts. You see, these parts are harder to come by, and you know, if the price is right, I'll just be willing to pay for it, you know, as parts. So yeah, he was like, you know, chit-chatting me up about saws and wanted me to go pick ramps. And I don't know if you ever heard of ramps, but they're kind of like wild onions. And I had to pass his offer. I was like, dude, I'm here on vacation with my family. Can't be spending all day picking ramps with you. My family wants to go hiking. So yeah, I was able to pick up this saw while I was on vacation, meet this cool old guy that wanted to go pick ramps with me. It was kind of funny. But yeah, that was kind of cool. He works at the dump, and he sees all sorts of stuff that comes in broken. You know, people just think it's junk. They're going to throw it away. And he's like, oh, that can be saved. And he cleaned it up. He did a pretty good job. But, I mean, it was still pretty bad. I cleaned it up when I had to get home. When I got home. And I got it running right. All except, I think there's an air leak somewhere. And so I thought it'd be kind of cool if we do an air leak test on this saw, because when I was running it, it didn't want to idle right. It was idling up and down, so it wouldn't just settle, right? So that's like one sign. And then when I was running it, I'd run it, and then it would just jump really high in the RPMs, and you can hear it. Wee! You know, it's like wee! So yeah, the best thing to do is go ahead and just stop it and you know, take it to a shop and get a leak test or something to make sure everything's running right. Otherwise, if you continue to run that saw with an air leak, you'll run it lean. And what that means is it's sucking extra air in to the cylinder, right? So that is messing with the fuel-air mixture, right? Because it's getting extra air, there's less fuel. That means less oil. That means scoring, extra heat, you know, and you'll run the risk of burning up the saw. So that's what we're doing here, right? We are saving this 026. It's old. I mean, this thing was made probably 20 years ago. If I had to guess, I don't know. I guess I could check the serial number, right? Figure out what year it was made and whatnot. But they started making these in the late 80s, early 90s, and they made these all the way throughout, like 2001 maybe. This was replaced with the MS-260 and then the MS-261. Thanks for joining, guys. Y'all are quiet. You're just letting me yammer on about this 026 that I picked up. So that's cool. We can go ahead and start running this leak test on it. Dun, dun, dun. So first thing I'm going to do is take the fuel out. Good morning, guys. Thanks for joining. Just hanging out. About to run a leak test on this saw. So these old saws, they don't make them anymore for a reason. And it's really because the EPA and the emissions control standards. And so this was kind of like the peak pinnacle of reliability. Built for power to weight, and it's a pro grade saw. And you know, people are going to argue about, you know, it's not an adjustable oiler and whatnot, but what I like about these 026s as opposed to an 025 is these cases, these bottom ends and these top ends, you can change out. They're separate, right? And so you get that added case volume on the bottom end, and then the top end, if you burn it up for whatever reason, it's completely replaceable. Really easy. Actually, I've changed out a top end and piston on one of these lives over the winter. So yeah, that's the 026, and I love them. I've got a couple. There's a, let me see. There's a couple on my shelf. Those two, let me see how we do this. Right there and right there. That's an 026 and that's an 024. Okay? And they're just great saws. They're great little 40, 50cc saws. They'll last forever. You know, they need a carburetor rebuild, new gaskets, and that's it really. You know, run it rich, plenty of oil, and you'll have a nice tool. Something else I like to do is knock all the rust off, clean this all up, get all the rust off the top, and then I'll coat it in oil. You can just use oil like that. And what that does is, as it heats up, it coats it and attaches itself. It actually acts as a protectant from rusting and whatnot. So, yeah. And then, of course, these red levers, right? These are highly sought after. That's kind of what caught my eye to begin with, was the red lever. Most of them are black. And for some reason, these red levers, I got people driving for hours away sometimes to come buy off me. But yeah, they're fun. So I emptied out all the gas out of the gas tank, right? And I want to go ahead and do a leak test on that fuel line. I know it's good because I actually put a new fuel line in this. The fuel line that when I bought it, was put in upside down. So I was like, oh, well, let's go ahead and change that. And yeah, so basically we'll go ahead and start here. And I'm going to show you a little trick. You take an air hose and you stick it in here after you've emptied it out. It cleans it out nicely. Just like that. No questions, guys? Just hanging out, chilling, watching me. That's cool. Got a little vacuum tester. And like any true amateur, I got no idea where the tip is. I gotta find the tip. Tip in here. No, that tip's not gonna fit. Tip's not in here. Oh, we got a tip right here. So I got another vacuum sealer. This tip will fit. Ugh. So when we're doing back tests, pressure tests, we just want it to hold air, just like that. And I'm doing that by holding the tip. As soon as it lets go, it won't hold, right? And so it's a good way to check your little back test right there. Did it hold? Okay. So this is your proper steel fuel filter. For these kinds of saws, you really just want to go ahead and use the OEM everything as much as possible. They're designed to spec, and a lot of the aftermarket parts are just not. So when I see that in saws, I just go ahead and replace it with the proper filter. So I don't know if you guys saw that, but basically I'm sticking this vacuum into the fuel line, right? So we want to make sure that this holds vacuum, right? Otherwise, we gotta figure out where the leak is. Find the leak. Okay, so see that, guys? That's good. That means that our carburetor and our fuel line is holding air. Okay, so I can eliminate fuel line. I can eliminate carburetor, and now we need to go onto the actual motor, right, and do a leak test on that. All right, so release that, check that. Okay, so now that I have the peace of mind that my carburetor is good, right, is holding air. Now, if it didn't hold air, right, then I would want to eliminate whether or not it was the fuel line, right? So I would go up one, and I would go up to the carburetor and test the carburetor right at where the fuel line and the pickup meet. And I would hook that up to the actual carburetor. Again, because it held air right off the bat, I can eliminate the carburetor, I can eliminate the fuel line, and we can go ahead and start blocking off our exhaust. So I like to find out where everybody's from. So if everybody could just put the country or the state of where you guys are hanging out from and watching, it kind of makes it interesting, just so we see where everyone's from. Well, I guess it doesn't help if there's not a whole lot of people on here. But it's okay. We will keep on going. I need to do this test anyway, because, again, it wasn't running right. Let's see how that looks. Alright, so what I'm doing is I just wanted to show you that cylinder and piston. But I guess the camera's just not powerful enough. So what I've done is I've taken off the exhaust, and we need to block it off if we're going to run a leak test on it. So let me back it up. The saw we got from a guy up in the mountains when I was on vacation last month. It came out of the dump. He said he fixed it, said it was running. Couldn't get it to run right for me, but I told him I just wanted it for parts if I could get it for the right price. So we negotiated back and forth. I ended up getting it for less than what he wanted, and took it home with me. It was not this clean. I cleaned it all up, ran it last weekend, and it didn't want to idle, right? And so it didn't want to just stay at that 1 RPM. It wanted to go up, wanted to drop down, and then when I was running it and actually cutting with it, it would jump the RPMs really high. Wee, and it, if you're running saws and you know the RPMs, if it jumps that RPMs, it's generally a sign of a lean or a leak, right? It's a lean situation where there's extra air coming into the cylinder, and what happens is the oil is in the fuel, and if there's not enough of that fuel to fuel air ratio, the saw runs lean. Not enough lubricant, it heats up, and then the piston and the cylinder will start to get scored. So that happens, go ahead and stop, take the saw, make sure you get a leak test done, because if you continue to run that saw, it will burn up. So we're doing a leak test. I just ran a leak test earlier on the saw from the fuel line to the carburetor, right? That held pressure, so we're good. We're moving on to the actual cylinder to see if there's an air leak inside that cylinder. So what I'm going to do is I'm blocking off the exhaust. Yeah, it does create weird pressures. So that's how the saw works, right? And so as that piston draws down, it's sucking air, right? It's creating a vacuum, right? And that fuel air mixture gets sucked right through the carburetor. If there's a leak, let's say in the crankshaft, in the crank seals, that means it's getting extra air, and that fuel air mixtures ratio is off. It's getting extra air, not enough fuel, not enough lubricant, which makes it run hot. So it's always good to do a leak test in these situations, because you don't want to burn your saw up. And so you want to get a block off plate. I think that's what this is. A little block off plate and a piece of rubber. And we're going to put that on that exhaust, just like that, and it creates a seal. Yeah, man, you're welcome. Thanks for asking. Appreciate you asking. That's what makes these lives fun, is you guys asking questions. I'm talking about it. Then it feels more like an interaction, like I'm having a conversation with y'all. And then if you can learn something, heck yeah. So let me show you. That sits between the block plate and that cylinder, and I'm going to tighten it down. Yeah, so these cooling fins, that's basically what they use to cool the saw. And a lot of times I'll get saws that are completely caked up, right? So that it's completely solid, which makes it really hard for the air to get in between there and actually cool that cylinder. But yes, good question. These are air cooled. So if you have a saw, go ahead and clean it. It should be cleaned regularly. I clean my saw after every use, but that's me. Not everybody's doing that. I get it. You work all the time. You don't want to clean your saws an hour after working every day. Totally get it. But yeah. Ooh, it sounds like there's a squirrel on top of my shed. Yep, there it is. You guys want to see my my little tomatoes? So, side quest in the backyard, looking at the tomatoes. And yes, I have socks and sandals on. This is 6 a.m., bro. My wife's still sleeping. It's my bean crop. It's not in yet. Unusually cool spring this spring. Yum. Bro, I mean, I don't know. I wasn't going to do a garden this year, but my neighbor gave me some peppers. And and tomatoes. And I was like, all right, fine, I'll do it. And then, this war popped off. And so I was like, well, oil prices, food prices, those are kind of linked. Price of oil goes up. Both those things are going up. I might as well grow some food. So, back to the leak test. We got a little bit sidetracked on our side quest in the backyard. It is getting light out. And today, my friends, we will be riding our jet skis. It will be a fun day. Get that snug. Now I'm taking my air filter off. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. So, if you ever go to these big box stores, you can't buy a saw like this. You might be able to buy a clamshell, but you can't buy a pro model saw like this. Being able to find one that's not running right, pick it up for a decent price, fix it, make sure it runs, test it, sell it. It's a highly sustainable hobby. I'll put it that way. So, there's the carburetor. When you pull the trigger, that butterfly opens. And that goes straight into your cylinder. But yeah, if everything goes down, I don't think everything's going to go down. But it's going to get a lot more expensive. And as those prices go up, people will just go without, figure out other ways. But yeah, it's always fun to learn something, right? So, I have this little piece right here, and it goes right on to your carburetor, and you can do a leak test just like that. Yeah. If it goes down, it goes down. I'm growing potatoes. I can grow 50, 60, 70, 100 pounds of potatoes if I need to. And survive like the Irish. Gotcha. Appreciate it. Yeah. So I've been just toying around with the idea. Honestly, I'm not ready to go out, to scale or whatever, Facebook, YouTube. Just not yet. I'm kind of just practicing with y'all, honing my skills, so to speak. And right now it's fun, right? And, little by little, I'll do what I want and when I want. And but yeah, I appreciate that. At one point, I will think we need to join the YouTube community and start, a page and whatnot and doing fun stuff. But yeah, not gonna lie, it's work. It's time, it's effort. But yeah, if you guys want to see it, I'll definitely consider it for sure. For sure. Let's see. So we got to take these nuts off, and it's kind of a pain. Not really. These are nice. On the new saws, it's a real pain. They don't want you touching the carburetor. They don't want you messing with it, and that's by EPA design. In fact, I had to sand this bit down so that it will fit into the carburetor holes on the new saws. The nuts. I got the nuts. Yeah. And if you can get these for nice, around the $200 range, you can flip it for $30 if it runs right? So, that's usually where my head is at on these, is around the 200, 175, 180, depending on how beat up it is. This doesn't want to come out because I gotta take the throttle linkage on. I will say that's my pet peeve with the O series, and actually, you know, all these MS series saws, throttle linkage. But I guess it's kind of an engineering, like, with the throttle linkage, having to take the handle off to take that throttle. So, what are your plans for the day? Anything cool? Saturday? Work day? Fun day? Grow lots of food day? Cook lots of food day? Okay, guys, so we have our exhaust blocked off right there. We have installed where certain people see you as a CIA operator on social media. Yeah, people see me as a social media secret operative or whatever because of that interaction with the Russians. Again, they were filming me for some reason, and I just wanted to know who they were. Oh, bouldering. Very cool. Yeah. So, I used to boulder years ago outside of Boone, North Carolina. Some really nice bouldering out there, actually. World class, actually. Hound Ears has a competition every year. A couple of my friends have won it, entered it all the time. It's a great area. Grandmother Mountain. Nope. Not a tier 1 operator. Just a dad. All right. Boone, North Carolina. It's the mountains of North Carolina. North Carolina. Yeah. Grandmother Mountain, and then there's a place called Linville Gorge. Alright, guys, we have a pretty bad leak. If you want to go see. My suspect was right. No pressure whatsoever. So, this saw will not run right. And that's why. Because there's a leak somewhere. So what are you going to do? You'll find the leak. Exactly what an operator would say. Yeah, I'm not an operator. I am just a chainsaw enthusiast. Who's also a dad. Who's also a jet ski enthusiast. And also a husband. Not necessarily in that order. You know what I want? I want to get some coffee. And we'll take you on a ride. You can see my parched lawn. We're in a drought, so I'm not able to grow the grass like I would like to. But the jet skis. Oh, also a fun, man, you know, the key to life is staying busy, right? Staying busy, putting in that work, and yeah, and having fun too. Work hard, play harder. So yeah, this is my little Yamaha. Here's my other Yamaha. So I got my 2 Yamahas. And then you want to see I got a boat, I got a jet ski, another jet ski. All right, that's my wife's jet ski. I just fixed that. So you guys are seeing the inside of my house right now, which is kind of crazy, right? Like, you guys are all around the world and hanging out with me this morning. Yeah, baby. Yeah. You see the fun wagon? The coffee's good. Those skis look good. They're old too. Old 2-strokes. In case you're picking up on a theme here, I like 2-strokes, and I think we're gonna do a company called LKN 2-strokes. So appreciate it. The compound, there is a controlled entrance at the front for sure. It's a nice bit of land I have out here. It's actually the property is what drew me here. The house is shitty. I mean, it's cool, but we're about to start doing some work on that mug too. So, unfortunately, because we have an air leak on this saw, it is no good to run. We are going to start taking it apart because we got to find the air leak. Which is unfortunate, but it's okay because I like to do it. Yeah, bro. Work hard, save your money, get a piece of land, and get old-time hobbies. You know, part of this is, having fun and breaking even. I don't like to think that I make money on my saws. I like to think that I'm getting a hobby, an enjoyment out of it, and then sharing the saws that I fix with everyone else. And I'm going to sell it for like $300, maybe $350, depending on the market. And yeah, Bob, you get $150. But, you're going to have like between $20 to $50 in parts. You're going to have a significant amount of time. Now, people spend that time however they want, right? They got TV, they do sports, they do their phone and whatnot, but Time is whatever you prioritize it to be, right? Yeah, enjoying life. Because if it's not fun, you won't enjoy it, right? This is fun for me, like, I enjoy it. It gives you something to think about when you have to work at something that you don't necessarily like to do or interested to do it. It gives you that motivation to push through to get to that point, right? You know, those jet skis that I have, right? I can remember when I was a little kid, when those things came out. I thought they were so cool. I wanted one so bad. My mom and dad, no way. I didn't even ask. Like, it wasn't even like in the realm of possibilities, right? So, but, dude, you can pick those things up for dirt cheap. I mean, those two skis out there, I'm looking at Facebook Marketplace, $1,500 with a trailer. Now, you might have to do some work. Might have to put some elbow grease in, but, I mean, $3,000, you know, I got those for $4,000 with the trailer. So that was a pretty good deal. Actually, I'm letting you in another secret. You know, buying and selling jet skis is something that you can do too. That's how I got into these saws. Is when I bought those jet skis, I realized, hey, nobody works on two-stroke engines around here. Literally, I bought these two jet skis off Facebook Marketplace, and my neighbors are like, yeah, nobody works on two strokes. Like, go talk to the shops; they'll tell you to go buy a new jet ski. And so I was like, huh. And then I thought about, well, if I learn how to work on two-stroke chainsaws, right, I can apply that to working on two-stroke jet skis. And so I started doing that, and I ended up liking chainsaws, and learning to work on jet skis, right? So jet skis, they're fun to ride. They're a lot of fun, right? I mean, I've never seen a sad person on a jet ski, right? And they're a bitch to work on. Not gonna lie. Like, working on chainsaws gave me the confidence to work on it. But, for example, when I say a bitch to work on, when I rebuilt the carburetors on my Sea-Doo, it took me 3 weekends to rebuild the carburetors. And when I say rebuild, it took me like 4 hours just to remove the carburetors off the engine, right? Then I had to strip them down, remove the paint, throw them in my ultrasonic cleaner, and make sure they're all clean, repaint them, and then ordered an OEM kit and completely rebuilt them. Put them into the... spent another weekend putting it into the jet ski, and then it ran perfect. It was amazing. It felt really good, and a sense of accomplishment, because I'm not a mechanic by trade. This is something that, because I've been working on the computer for a long time now, I enjoy working with my hands. I enjoy taking something old, broken, cleaning it all up, making it shiny, functional, and then when I sell it, that's the ultimate satisfaction and confirmation of what I'm doing is valid. And that's really what keeps me going in this saw thing, is because I'll see a saw for, I can pick up for $200, and I know it's worth $300, maybe $350 running, and I just know that I can get it running for less than $50 in parts, most likely. Most people in today's society haven't been trained to rebuild things, to make things last, to refurbish, right? We are in a buy, throw away society, and the corporations have conditioned us for that. And so this is my way of bucking the industry, so to speak. In fact, I sell them in the parking lot across the street from Lowe's, and I talk junk about Lowe's because the saws that they sell for $500-600 can't compete with this saw that I'm selling for $350, $400, $300, depending on what kind of deal you get off of me. And that's what makes this hobby viable, because the new saws they're selling are controlled by the EPA, which means you can't run them rich. You can't run them with a little bit of extra oil, fuel, to elongate that life. Which is why, you know, these saws, I mean, this is a 20, 30-year-old saw, and it's still running fine. It's got an air leak, but that's because one of these gaskets has gone bad. And I get it, you know. We can change that out. But the battery operated, these cheap clamshells that they sell over at Lowe's, big box, you know, Home Depot, they're not going to last. They're going to take you 2 times as long to do the job, and then they're going to expect you to buy a new one next year when it won't start. And then it's like, nobody knows how to rebuild carburetors, right? Nobody knows how to do the nitty-gritty of taking this apart, putting back the new OEM parts or whatever, right? And making it run. And now you go back 40 years ago, and everybody's grandpa, everybody's, you know, brother knew how to rebuild carburetors. It's almost like a lost art, which is fine, because that's what makes this whole thing viable. Right now, I'm not the only guy that does it. In fact, there's probably 10 guys in a 50-mile radius that are doing the same thing as me. And it's cool. I like it because I have a very high standard, right? I'm very specific. I'm not going to do any homeowner grade saws. I only buy professional grade saws with a proper top end, a proper bottom end. And I only sell 100% working saws that are all OEM. And that's kind of the dark side of this whole thing, because if you're out here trying to buy saws, you really got to know what your stuff. And I say that because if you want a new top end from steel for this saw, it's going to cost you $300, right? And that's a proper OEM top end. You can buy an aftermarket top end for about $150 to $140 from Highway, Meteor. One of these saw shops will sell you an aftermarket kit, and that allows you to get a saw running with parts that cost half the price. So you may not know that you're buying a saw with aftermarket parts until you've already made the purchase, right? So knowing what to look for, knowing your OEM parts, you know, taking it one step at a time and learning it. It's just like anything, right? It takes time, effort. But yeah, I'll be honest, I didn't know anything about saws 6 years ago before I owned jet skis. And it's just something that's like, oh, you can make $200 for a couple hours of your time, $400, you know, it starts to add up. And again, it's fun. Like, for me, it's fun. I'm not under any rush, right? Like, I'm sitting here rambling on about saws with you guys, hanging out. I'm not like, oh, I gotta get this done, because I don't. And that's why I like the whole idea of buying and selling versus having a shop that it's like, where's my saw? Where's my saw? Where's my saw? Like, this is my hobby. I'm not doing this to make money. I mean, I am, but it's on my time when I buy and sell. It's not like repairing somebody's saw and then having to meet them twice and doing that kind of extra work. But yeah, it's a fun industry. Fun hobby, not really a fun industry. I mean, it is a fun industry. They got race, they got races, right? They got saws that are souped up, and people meet up and they race their builds versus other builds. So yeah, there's a lot of YouTube videos out there, right? If you're not familiar with any of this, you can go learn on YouTube. It's free, you know, and there's a lot of knowledge out there. What's cool about two-strokes is you don't need expensive tools. You know, a lot of the four-stroke fancy engines out there today, you need a lot of expensive tools to do diagnostics, electronics, and that's what's great about these two-strokes is you don't need the fancy computers, the fancy tools to do simple diagnostics. I mean, this is not an expensive tool. I think this is $20, right? You know, this is not expensive, right? Jet skis, you get a little bit more pricier in the tools, right? But again, not terribly complicated. So, yeah, one day I will do a YouTube. I think I will start doing a YouTube here shortly because we need to start doing these videos and letting people reference back to all this information. Letting my kids reference back, you know, letting everybody reference back. So yeah. But yeah, Byron, thanks for the inspiration today for the live. I'm gonna go ahead and end it. I gotta go to the bathroom. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not coming with you on that. So we're gonna go ahead and go till next week. We'll see if we get this leak fixed between now and then. But I'll see you next week, all right, guys? Oh, next week, I'm going on vacation. So that should be fun. We'll do some lives next week for sure while I'm on vacation. Later, bro.